Anytime you can take a break like this, take advantage of it. You're going to be better off. Mentally, physically. It's a grind. Every series is its own. Its own battle, has its own challenges. So you got to take advantage of a time like this.
When you look back at that series against the Lightning, I know that was only the first round, but to be able to check that box, win that series, knock off a team like that, come out on the right end of the rivalry matchup, how important was that? And if you had to pick one or two big themes that you liked the most from that series, what were they?
Well, I think the more opportunities you have and the more success you find in tight games, the more comfortable you are and more confident you are going forward, and that's important. I think the biggest takeaway is the period where we probably should have been the tightest. We played our best in that third period in a game to close it out. We weren't sitting back with the lead. We were making plays. We were supporting the puck, and that's the way we got to keep playing moving forward.
A lot of people look at this series and say, "Oh, Florida won in 5. They won Game 5, 6-1. Easy series for Florida." But if you watched it, far from it. Do you feel like this round helped you guys a little bit as far as the toughness, like you were just talking about, closing it out in the third?
Let's think about playoffs. A series like this could have easily went 7. It could have easily went 4. So that's playoff hockey. Like I said, the more tight games you can come out on top, the better it is for your confidence. The better it is for to be comfortable in those situations moving forward. It can be a snowball effect at this time of year. Kind of roll them over. You got that good feeling. You're confident in those close games. So those are important wins for us.
And I was going to ask you about 60 goals. I mean, I think Roger Maris is up next for you. I mean, you've got the franchise record for goals in a single season. When you think about that on an off day, or if you do,
I don't think I've thought about it once this year. That's the beauty of playoffs. There's so much more on the line than any individual stats. So, we had a job to do in the first round. It's always a battle. We were able to execute and come out on top, and now it's all recovering and refocusing for round 2.
Pretty neat, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
After last game, coach specifically pointed out Lundy having a good game because your line got back together. You spent a ton of time with him. Just how impressive is seeing what he does as a 22-year-old? People forget sometimes how young he is with how early he started.
I think he really elevated his game this round. I think you saw it. Before Benny went out, but certainly when he did go out, he elevated. He was producing. He was hard on pucks. I think it was pretty easy to see. So nothing but positive things to say about him.
And you talk about guys stepping up. When Kevin Sedlin signed here, they're like, all right, he's a penalty killer, he's a fourth liner, but obviously we've seen in these situations he can step up and make some pretty incredible high skill plays as well, like he did in Game 5. So what's he brought to this group outside of the things we expected him to bring?
A lot of stability in our lineup. Like you said, he takes off so much pressure on the kill, especially starting a lot of kills. To have that depth. Just to see him make a play like he did last third period, it's kind of expected. He's got so much skill, he's got so much length, his hands are so good. He's capable of making those plays, and that's important to have up and down your lineup.
Sam, every question that I've heard you answer this year, you've always had a very focused, I'm on the process. It's about the next game, about the team. How are you able to compartmentalize all that when there is a lot of attention on 40 goals, 50 goals, 60 goals now, the contract, all that stuff? How are you? What is your process about staying locked in and just the next thing?
I think there's some hunger and learning experience that goes through a run like last year. Obviously not reaching our ultimate goal, but you learn so much. You want to be back. You want to have that opportunity again. I think that's been driving our team from the start of the year. Short-term deals are nothing new to me. I think when you get off to a better start, it makes everything else easier. It's allowed me to not really focus on anything, personal. So it might have been a little bit harder had I got off to a poor start. But fortunately, didn't have to go down that route.
Sam, as you guys prepare for what's next, how much are you paying attention to Boston, Toronto, waiting to find out who the opponent's going to be in round 2?
I think every game in the playoffs where you're paying attention to. It's the best time of year that you know, as a player and as a fan. So certainly that series is something we're keying on and focusing on more than others right now. And you know, like I said, you know, you got to take advantage of this opportunity, both mentally and physically, to rest. But we're excited about that next challenge ahead, whoever it may be.
When you're watching those games, do you watch as a fan, or do you have to kind of watch? Do you watch more X's and O's, or can you turn that part of your brain off and just enjoy the hockey?
I think all year, you know, I'm kind of a fan of learning how teams play structurally, what they kind of do as a team, and then obviously there's a certain few players you key on a little bit more, but you know, certainly you see, you know, the structure more in the playoffs and how teams are. So I think that's kind of always how I watch a game.
Paul has always complimented your hockey mind and how your mind works, and he goes, if you ever need to know how a game, what happened, talk to Sam. So when you're last night, are you going through all the games? I mean, there were 4 last night. You going through all of them, or are you just watching one and doing laundry? I don't know. I mean,
watch the ones I can. Some of them get pretty late for me, but no, certainly Toronto and Boston is one you watch the whole thing. You're focused a little bit more. You know, it's nice to stay in it, both as a fan and you know, knowing you're back in battle in a couple days' time. So you know, I'm a fan of the game. I'm always trying to learn. So the games are going to be on in my house whenever someone's over.
Sam, in the NBA, guys ask their coach to challenge literally every foul. It seems like they're always begging their coach to use their challenge, use their review. How often do players in hockey go to the bench and say, I think that was off, I think that was interference? I mean, how often do players tell a coach, this might be a time?
There's certainly times. I mean, you've obviously got guys in the dressing room that are watching. They've got all the angles. You know, I think as the play's going, if someone's on the bench and thinks there's a good possibility of it being offside, you know, they're relaying that message so they can take a closer look. You know, in the dressing room, but it's really not much time you have to challenge. There's a lot of input going on, both in coach's ear and what they're seeing on the screens on the benches. So, but yeah, I think there's time that guys are throwing in their input. But obviously a couple of good calls on our end last game.
Sam, you've been playing under Paul for 2 years now. Just what is it about the way he coaches that stands out the most to you, and how he's been able to get you guys to where you are over these past 2 seasons?
I think he coaches in a way that you know, makes the players, you know, feel like they can coach the team. You know, he's so straightforward in you know, teaching and you know, he's on us every day. You know, right from day one in training camp 2 years ago. So I think that provides the confidence with the players that they can go out and execute. It's a system that you don't have to feel your best in. You know, when there's a lot on the line, when games are tight, you know, it's a system that you can rely on to get it done. So, you know, I think he's done a very good job of teaching it, and it's a system that everyone believes in and everyone wants to contribute in. So that's an important part of what a coach has to do.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank
Yeah,
you very
thank
much.
you.